mind and one for the intelligent as fellas get. Listen, let's settle this, be clear. I could fall back 7 years, still it ain't no one ahead of me. Consider it a blessing if you get to stand next to me. 5-star general, OG veteran, cake like.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. So today we're going to discuss the continuing of a program after you attain your goal. Now, I got this email from let me just send the email before I forget. You can hear Brady running through here. I got this email from a client asking me, because he's close to his goal now. He's like, so when I get to my goal weight, then what? You know, and I think he's expecting, or was expecting, well, here's the program. We just do this and you maintain your goal. Well, it continues. You know, like, it's hard to explain to somebody who has never been there before that your diet has to be adjusted constantly. Like, it's not once you hit this thing, you just set your calories and macros here and you stay there. The body changes and adapts to everyday stress all the time. So your metabolism is going to be different. It's going to adapt to those calories and those macros every single fucking day. It's going to be like that. So what's going to happen is you may notice if you set your macros at a certain place and you leave them there for 2 weeks, you're like, well, what the fuck? Why am I getting a little bit fatter? I'm not eating any extra. Your body's adapted and more efficient at using those calories and macros, and it's actually having spare macros left over and storing them as fat. You know, or there's other times where, you know, I'd actually take someone's diet and I'll actually make it completely maintain for like 2 weeks. But what we'll do is increase the cardio, and of course they're training just as hard, trying to build muscle at the same time, and all of a sudden they lose fat. Well, they're like, how did I lose fat? Well, technically some people will be like, well, you're in a caloric deficit because you're increasing the cardio. What you're doing is you're making the body work harder over time while maintaining the macros. But still something has to change. You can't just, you know, leave your cardio the same, you know, or stop doing cardio, maintain your macros, train, you know, it doesn't work that way. Like, even when you go in the gym and push, your workouts that day, your body adapts to. So what's happening is, like, you may have 100% that you give on Tuesday. Wednesday when you go in, your 100% is really not 100%. It's 85% because you didn't get enough sleep, or the kids are driving you fucking nuts. You had to fight with your wife or whatever. Like, you're not giving that much effort. So therefore, your metabolism is not going to be stimulated as much as it was the day before. That changes your daily caloric daily caloric burning. So now your caloric intake, if it's the same and you have less caloric expenditure, that's the word I was looking for, less caloric expenditure, what happens? You're technically over calorically. So what happens? You gain fat. It's very, you know, but by the end of the week it all evens out because you'll have good days and bad days, etc. And it even comes through, you know, throughout the day, you're anabolic and you're catabolic. You're not either anabolic or catabolic throughout the day the whole time. Like, it switches back and forth. Obviously, there's times of anabolism, there's times of catabolism, plain and simple. There's times where cortisol levels are higher, there's times where they're lower. Not that they're chronically high or chronically low, but it changes throughout the day. And all this stuff doesn't cease to exist just because you hit your goal. You know, once you hit your goal, yay, now, I'll tell you what, hitting the goal is the easy part. Maintaining the goal is what really is hard to do and takes a lot of skill and patience and time management. That's another thing we got to talk about. We're going to do a time management video. Maybe we'll do that right after this one. But the bottom line is, once you hit your goal, that's when the true work really begins. Because if you really want to be, like, you know, 200 pounds and you've been 350 your whole life, you're going to fight to get down to 200. But once you get down there, to fight to not go back to 350, which your body's going to want to do, is even harder. I had an ex-girlfriend, not Carrie, the girl before Carrie. She wasn't really into the competitive scene. And she watched me diet down for a couple of shows, and she was like, what is this all about? And, you know, my friends were dieting for shows. So she said, I want to do a show. So she dieted down. And she probably came down a good 35, 40 pounds on her frame to compete. And she looked phenomenal. Everybody was like, wow, like, she's got such a great physique. Holy shit. Like, we didn't know, you know, that was under those layers of fat and water. She gets on stage, everybody's just like, wow. And she then felt what it felt like to feel good about the way you look. About 2-3 weeks goes by, she's able to maintain it. She's having some, you know, junk food here and there. We're going out to eat, which we hadn't done. We did the show together. And lo and behold, a month later, she says, you know, I'm up like 5, 6, 7 pounds. I said, yeah, well, you know, I'll go back on my diet. Well, she went back to the original diet she ended with, which is of course not where she should be now because she's actually heavier, metabolism is slower, caloric out expenditure is less, like all these type of things. Workout intensity is less. It needed to be readjusted again. Instead, she just jumped back on what she was doing. That didn't work. So fast forward a couple months, she's 30 pounds heavier. And we're out in California with her parents. Her parents are telling her how proud they were that she did this thing and da-da-da. And she said, you know, Dad, she goes, it's not getting to the spot, to the goal, to being lean. It's maintaining it that's the hard work. And that's when it really, it really dawned on me because I never really tried to maintain at that point. I was always either gaining or losing, trying to get bigger for the next competition or dieting down for the next competition. I was never trying to maintain. Once you try to maintain and you don't have that goal as far as gaining or losing, it's like, okay, so if you're gaining and you lose, you only went in one direction, right? If you're losing and you gain, you only went in one direction. If you're maintaining or you lost, or you have two directions you go in. So it's twice as hard, if that makes any sense. So it's twice as hard to maintain your goal than it is losing weight or gaining weight. So be aware, guys, that everything needs to be adjusted all the time. There's no blueprint. If someone hands you a blueprint, bullshit. They just fucking don't know themselves. They're bullshitting you or trying to fucking rob you of your money. There's no blueprint to maintain. You can't just maintain calories. Everything changes. So week to week, everything needs to be adjusted, and you need to really take stock of what's going on if you're going to maintain your physique. Biowestertraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biowestertraining.com is the blog. It's the maintain bicep, and we're out.